fake it till you make it, right? There's nothing in the world that you can't do it. Now you have YouTube, ChatGPT. Never ever undervalue your customers. Today you have a client, maybe for next 2 months you don't have a client. That one client will fetch you more clients if you're good at what you do. Okay, so your skills are more important. Sites out there called Freelancer, Upwork, Fiverr, but trust me, it doesn't work. I've tried it all. It really doesn't work. Nobody will approach you. Okay, then how do you get your first project? I'm here to tell you about freelancing, my journey, how I started, how I got my first client. And from last 5 years, I've been into digital marketing space. I'm currently working for a US-based company as the digital marketing lead. Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Karuna Jain. Okay, I'm an MBA in marketing, and from last 5 years I've been into digital marketing space. I'm currently working for a US-based company as the digital marketing lead, and alongside my corporate role, I'm also the founder of a company called Kaizen. So it's a digital marketing agency which I have officially launched a year ago. But it is a journey that it started with freelancing, and now it is into a full-fledged digital marketing agency where we are offering 360-degree digital marketing services. Everything that you can name it under digital marketing, we offer it to the clients. And when I'm talking about the digital marketing agency or my full-time corporate role, okay, the only thing that comes to my mind is the skills that I have, okay, and how powerful I can communicate it to people, how powerfully I can articulate it to people, right? So in our particular agency, so we started off, I was just one person that I started off with, and now I have an in-house team of 5 to 6 members, and we offer everything from brand building, performance marketing, SEO, and all these strategies that comes under digital marketing, we offer it to them. And the whole thing that we want for my clients, and this is the, I would say, motto of my company, is that never ever undervalue your customers. Okay, for example, whenever I get a client, even if I got my first client, for me, my first client, it gave me 500 rupees to make a logo, and I still happily took it. I never thought, okay, it's just 500 rupees and why should I put so much of effort, right? And even till date, I have this agency that I am having, and like she mentioned, it's almost 50 plus clients now I take into, and it's from every sort of industries, right? From FMCG, edtech companies, finance industries, clothing, jewelry, so many more, okay? But till date, I never undervalue a customer. Oh, it's just paying me so much. Why should I take so much of efforts? It's never that with me, okay? So I encourage all of you, okay, here, as you guys are aspiring digital marketers, you're taking your certification course. The only thing that I encourage all of you to do is start somewhere. Don't wait, oh, I have a digital marketing certification which costed me so much. Why should I just start off with 500 rupees or something? Don't ever think that, because that one client will fetch you more clients if you're good at what you do. Okay, so your skills are more important. So like you all know, I'm here to tell you about freelancing, my journey, how I started, how I got my first client, how I'm at 50 plus clients right now, and what I do at my full-time job. I'm going to share my experience. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can simply raise your hand, interrupt me anywhere where you want, and I'll be very happy to answer your questions. Right. So why freelancing? So digital marketing is definitely very important, right? So we have two options here with us. Either we go as a full-time role in our digital marketing, or we do freelancing, or we can do both, right? So if I talk about my personal journey, right, I'm an MBA in marketing, and I have done my digital marketing certification. And right from my graduation, I had my first client. I did not even wait that, oh, I need to get my certificate done, or I need to have a degree in my hand, right? So always start quickly, because just imagine you have so much of competition in just one room that we are talking about. And we are talking about people around us in the whole city, in the country, so much of competition. Then why wait, okay? So always be very clear with what you want in your life, whether it's a full-time job or a freelancing. But the good part is you can do both as digital marketers, right? I always suggest have a full-time job with you and then depend on freelancing, because what happens in freelancing is today you have a client, maybe for next 2 months you don't have a client, right? So you can't rely on that one source of income for yourself, right? And I would say we are in an economy where it is okay to do both the things. You might have heard the word gig economy. Anyone? Okay, so what is gig economy? Gig word itself is nothing but taking up small projects like a side income for you. Okay, so that economy is called gig economy, which is nothing but your freelancing. Freelancing is what? We just take small projects how and when it comes to us. And that economy, right, you see here, it's 1.5 trillion as per 2024. And if we just talk about the numbers in India, by 2020 and 2021, there were 7.7 million people who were just taking freelancing projects. But as per the number, if we see the last year, 2024, it's have crossed 22 million employees, right? And that's why you might have heard a word called moonlighting. Yes, where a full-time corporate employee or someone who have a full-time job and commitment is doing side projects, side gigs. It is called unethical at times, but now people have made peace with the fact that everyone will do extra work for earning that extra money, right? So that's why gig economy, the freelancing work, it's absolutely okay to do, right? So, and those were the few numbers that we were talking about in the terms of economy and how many people have turned towards freelancing, right? And why we should do freelancing. I personally recommend it to everyone because first of all, as digital marketers, we have this benefit that we can work from anywhere, right? For any client. And no matter what the industry is, whether you're corporate office, you can talk about big companies like Dell, Infosys, Apple. Everybody has a marketing team. They have specific digital marketing teams. If you see their ads run on their YouTubes, right? We see it on Instagram. If you talk about big brands like fashion brands, right from your Prada, Louis Vuitton, Cartier, everybody has their Instagram pages. They run ads, right? You talk about hospitals. You talk about finance industry. Everybody needs a digital marketer. And it's right now, especially after COVID, we don't even have to go to offices. If you see myself, I work for a US-based company. The head office is in US. But I'm in India, I'm working for them, right? And it is completely a remote job, right? They do have offices in Hyderabad. One is right beside your institute. But again, I don't come to office that often, only when we have a client meeting or something. So that's why I'm able to manage my full-time job, my freelancing, right? And to your surprise, like, do I have like 4 or 5 people or 6 7 people as an in-house team? I do most of the job. 60% is the work that I personally do. If they want a website on WordPress, I'll do it for them. Because why do I have to pay a person to do that when I have the time to do, when I have the skill to do, right? So that is one of the things. You have flexibility, freedom, and financial independence. Who doesn't love money in this room? I think we all are here because we love money. My only goal in life is that I want to earn a lot of money and I want to spend a lot of money. That's the only sole motto I have, right? Because it brings us joy, right? It brings us financial independence, right? Maybe for some people, it could be an investment. For some people, you just want to have a lavish life. And I want best of all the worlds, right? So having a job and doing freelancing gives me that financial freedom. My boss in US, he tells me one thing. Your job is only to make sure that your expenses are covered, like your rent, food, the basic necessities. Whereas that is not your income, right? So freelancing is that income that I get where I can spend the things on which I want in my life, right? So I prefer all of you to have multiple sources of income, okay? Of course, in the beginning, you have to hustle. And the third point, I have already told you. Across the world, okay? I work for a US company, but I have clients in Europe, Australia, Middle East, and of course in India, okay? And the good part is when you're talking to international clients, okay, as digital marketers, like I told you, everyone needs it, right? You will learn so much, especially how fluent you get with your English language, okay? That's one thing that I was really scared of when I was a college graduate. Oh my God, how am I gonna face these people who know so much about their business? How am I gonna answer them? I just started off, right? The only thing that helped me was to improve my English language. And I highly recommend all of you, no matter how good you are with your skills, if you're not able to articulate your thoughts, if you're not able to put across your thoughts, your work, if you're not able to interact and communicate with your clients, I'm telling you it's not gonna work, okay? So digital marketing skills plus your communication skills is really important. So this is the thing which I think most of you should focus on. And this is another statement that I live by. If you have a skill, there's a client out there for you. You just need to find out, tap, and then deliver your services. Right, so what are the first steps to start freelancing? I would say there are only 5 steps, okay? First of all, define what are your core services. As a digital marketer, you are learning everything in digital marketing here, SEO, performance marketing, website making, Canva, graphic designing, and various other things, right? But sometimes when you are learning, you might realize not everything is for you, right? It's good to know everything, but you might not be great at everything you do, right? So first of all, define what will be your core services that you're going to offer, whether it's website designing, it could be performance marketing, it could be SEO, it could be anything. But for me personally, I took up everything as a service. So if a client is coming to me and is saying, oh, I want a coded website. As a digital marketer, I don't know the coding at all, okay? It's a basic coding I know, but I will never say a no to that client. I might outsource it to someone who knows it, but the client will understand that I am taking up that project, okay? So that is my experience I'm sharing, what are my core services. But for you, if you want defined, very niche you want to pick up, you can definitely go ahead and do it. So like the first step, it says core services, what you're gonna offer to your clients, okay? Okay, the second part, when you are doing freelancing, you might have heard about a couple of websites where you can, just make a portfolio of yours. It could be Upskill, Fiverr, LinkedIn is the best, I would say, because no matter how many accounts you make on Upskill and Fiverr, you will not get a clients initially, okay? So LinkedIn is the best way to organically approach businesses, okay? That is the second step. Though you might get or you might not get clients out of it, I would suggest still go ahead and make a portfolio on this particular websites. Okay. The third step is basically to showcase your work. Okay. Now, as a digital marketer, if a client is coming to me and say, oh, I want to make a logo for my brand and also the brand positioning, messaging, and all these things, what would be logically the first question is, can you show me your previous work, right? So you need to make a portfolio of yourself. If not a portfolio, you can also make a website for yourself. And then the question might come, but I just started. How will I have a portfolio? So that I'll answer in the later part of the session. So the third step is to make a portfolio or a website which will showcase your skills, your previous work that you have done, and it will build trust in your client. Okay, that's the third step. Fourth step is your personal brand building, right? So you need to have your personal portfolios also in place. I mean to say, like your LinkedIn profiles, your Instagram, right? You need to showcase your work there itself, especially LinkedIn. I know Vikram here, who is a digital marketing trainer. I'm sure he must have emphasized on the fact a lot that you need to be active on your LinkedIn, right? And how we should follow each other and all the tactics and everything. But so start off right now, okay? That's a fourth step. Now, the fifth step, again, I would say how well you're communicating, how good you are, how better you can influence your client, okay, to take your services over your competitor, right? And it only happens when you're doing it confidently. Because when you're starting off, right, in my mind is like, oh my God, my designs are not so good, my work is not so good, what am I going to do? I'm sure he will say no. That guy doesn't know you are a beginner, right? Act as if you know everything in the world. And like I always say to people around me and people who work in my office, so if I as a digital marketer, I don't know a lot of things, okay? I know what is performance marketing, I know this, that, but things are changing so fast. It's very much obvious that one person cannot know everything, all the features in the world, okay? But when I'm going to a client meeting, oh, absolutely, we know it. We have done it before for a lot of clients. Don't worry about it. My team will take care of it. I'll just behave as if I know everything in the world. And when I come to office, I panic and start making calls. And my first call goes to Vikram. So like, do you know how to do this? Yes? Okay, make time for me and we'll start off. Okay? So he's smiling right there because he knows how it goes, right? So, like I say, fake it till you make it, right? There's nothing in the world that you can't do it. Now you have YouTube, ChatGPT. I cannot live without ChatGPT. I eat ChatGPT in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, okay? And I might start speaking to ChatGPT even in my sleeps. So I'm such addicted to ChatGPT. Okay, so fake it till you make it. So these are 5 pointers I would say to start off with. Any questions? By the way, there's one more thing my boss says. If you don't have a question, it's two things. You're not understanding anything or you understood everything. So what is that? Option one or two? Understood everything. Great. Right. So how do I get my first freelancing project? Like I told you, there are a lot of websites out there called Freelancer, Upwork, Fiverr. But trust me, it doesn't work. I've tried it all. It really doesn't work. Nobody will approach you. Okay? Then how do you get your first project? LinkedIn, friends and family. Tap your network. So for example, hi, what's your name? Haripriya. Haripriya, how many friends do you have in average? Good friends. 5 to 6 good friends she have whom she can approach any time of the day, right? So if she approached that 5 people and say, in your family, if you know anyone who are starting up a business or they want any services, or your friends in Instagram, college friends, maybe in the institute itself, she has so many friends, right? If she spread that word, at least one person will come up something, or at least the other person will have in mind, oh, my friend Haripriya, she wanted somebody know, now she knows, she'll approach you. It is a very time-taking process, okay? You at one point you will think, I'm not getting any clients for myself, but it's a slow process. There's no work around it, okay? So all I'm saying is, if you know businesses, first of all, start watching Shark Tank. It will help you a lot, okay? You will know brands who have just started off, who need digital marketers, right? Make a note, they'll be very active on their LinkedIn and Instagram, especially today's startup. If you see, I think it was yesterday, I ordered something from a random website that I saw, okay? It was, of course, related to skincare. And I get a call from the owner herself in the evening. Hi, we saw that you received your order. How do you feel it is? I said, the packaging is not that great. It was leaking. So she said, okay, this is my WhatsApp number. You can call us. This is our working hours. Can you imagine the founders itself, they are coming and they are speaking to us. If you see Shark Tank, you will see a lot of founders do that. So all I'm saying is, make a list of the people who want digital marketing services, start writing emails to them, start approaching them, be in their DMs. They don't reply to one message, it's okay. Be like that boyfriend or girlfriend who is behind you all the time and not leaving you till you answer the call, right? So you go there, be in their DMs all the time, okay? And if you want, you can make a call. They will have the customer care number, right? So say, I want to talk to your team member. This is what I have seen, and all those things, right? Tap into your friends and family, right? Do you know everyone who at least have that one friend who have lot of friends? Yeah, so definitely it will work. Yeah, you have a lot of friends. So surely that person can help you. So I was saying we need to tap into our network. That's the first thing we need to do. Any questions here? If anyone have approached anyone, they did not get the client, they want some suggestions, anything that come across your mind and you want to answer. Okay, let me ask this question. How many of you have tried getting a freelancing project? Okay, very few. Can you please tell me why didn't you get your client, or why did you get your client?
I got client through my friend only. Now he's learning digital marketing only, but he want my help different module there, which he did not learn.
Right.
So I discussed with him. So he उनका जो client है वो उनको ये आंध्रा का है.
हाँ.
So he gave me that access for Meta Affiliate. So I did for that project. I take without any money. So I said, this is for my learning. So I took that project and I started campaign. So it took around 4 to 7 days to learning how that business is for plots का. So around 10 days में we got 100 plus leads.
Oh, that's nice.
In that में 13 will be about to convert.
Okay. What's your name?
Sayed Fayaz.
Sayed Fayaz. Right. So Sayed Fayaz is like a testimonial to whatever I said so far. Two things. First, he got his first sort of client from the network, friends and family. And the second, he did not take money because it was a learning experience for him as well. Okay. And third thing, like he was saying, it's not his own thing. He knows a friend who wants something. So you are one person who cannot do everything. Sometimes you need to outsource. You need to take help from people who can do it for you, right? So never ever come into this anxiety of knowing everything, because as digital marketers, you just can't keep up with so many things, okay? And it's okay to understand. See, one good thing about managers or working in corporates, a manager don't know how to make Excel sheets. He does know, he's not great at it. What his whole job to do? He knows bit of everything, and he can manage you all, and he can question you. So as a digital marketer, you don't have to know everything, doing by yourself. Sometimes you can just outsource it, okay? Can you go with next question, please? Which freelancing platform is best for digital marketers? I think I've answered this a couple of times. I would still suggest two things: LinkedIn, your network, okay?
LinkedIn?
Your own network, your friends, families. Do I need a personal brand to attract clients? Most definitely you need your personal brand, okay? For example, I walked into this room, okay, because I have a personal brand, because of the experience that I carry, right? That leaves an impression. I don't know if left on you or not, but it generally does on people, okay? And now the question might arise, but what could be your personal branding here? Because you just started off. But I said you can fake it, right? But fake it that nobody should catch you. Only till then, okay? So there are disclaimers there as well. But again, if imagine I'm going to Digital Nest. When you were signing up for this course, why did you come? Because they had a brand. You saw the testimonials, you saw the institute here, right? You met with the trainers, maybe you spoke to a couple of people, because it's a brand, right? And that's why you came here. You know that you have that confidence. Oh, I know I for sure will learn good here. I know I'll get a job after this. I know I'll be able to have that skill so that I can work on my own, right? So that's why having a brand helps. And when I'm talking my personal brand, maybe I will have a website of my own, my LinkedIn profile, and any company you go, okay? Once you leave the room, everyone will start searching you on the internet, right? And if they don't find anything for you, it is very fishy, right? So you always need to have a personal brand, right? It will definitely give you an edge over others. How do I create a portfolio without prior clients? So a couple of them raised their hands that they have already started or they got the freelancing project. How about the others who don't have a project right now? Okay, so how do we do? Because if we go to any client, they'll first ask us, show me your previous work. You send me your drive link. You send me your portfolio. You send me your website. So many things they will ask you. So how to do? Take a random project. Maybe the shirt what I'm wearing, it's from XYZ brand. You just go and run a fake ad or a dummy ad on its own and say, first make a note of the process. What is your process? What is your result? Okay, and you can say this is the product I've run the ad for, and this is the results I got, and this is the process that I have followed. If you don't know logo designing, just take up any brand. For example, KFC. What could be the alternative for KFC? You design for something. XYZ brands. There's no such brand that exists in the business, but you can still make it. If suppose there was a finance company, how would the logo look like, right? So like that, you can make dummy projects for yourself, or else you can simply go and ask your friends and family, you have a business, I would like to create a business card for you. I would like to create a logo for you. I would like to make your social media account and manage it for some time. So that becomes your first project to show it to your future clients. You're doing it for free, but at least you're building a good portfolio, right? And the best part, you will not have a boss because you're doing it for free. Trust me, that's the best thing. So that's how you create your portfolio. And by portfolio, I don't mean that you have a Xerox copy of things with you. It doesn't work like that. You need to have a personal website for yourself. It could be simple like a landing page, like a single page where you showcase your services, your skill, your previous work. If you have testimonials, that would be even great. Okay, and what type of industries did you serve before or you are offering? Because what happens, a lot of times I come across clients who wants people who have previously worked into the same industry. For example, EdTech industry. Okay, if let's say this institute is hiring a digital marketer, the first question will come, have you ever worked for an edtech before? Have you done the some work in the same industry? Because like for performance marketing or the ads that you're running, the way I run ads for an edtech company will be very different for what I do for a jewelry business, will be very different for what I do for a loan business, right? The targeting would be different, the way my brain works will be different, the messaging will be different. There's so many things, right? So we want a person who is experienced in that particular industry. So make sure whenever you're making your portfolio, you list down the industries that you're comfortable with, right? Because just not it's not about just creating ads or writing some blogs or social media posts, you know. Sometimes having knowledge of that particular industry makes a lot of sense. If you talk to me about FMCG, EdTech industries, finance, the numbers on top of my head. I know what's happening in the market. I can name a competitors just like that. It's on the tip of my tongue, and the fingers are on my, the statistics are on the tip of my fingers, right? So all this thing really helps. So that's how you create a portfolio if you don't have prior clients. Any questions? Okay.
Question I have.
Yeah.
For example, I'm doing freelancing now with a group of 4 people. Can I put it in my portfolio? Like, I won't be working on posters. I won't be editing. My friends will be doing it. My backend team will do that. Can I put it in my portfolio? I work for this client.
Definitely. Go ahead and ask your friends if you can share the name with them, and
Me and the other friend of mine can use the same portfolio.
you can use the same portfolio. Definitely. I mean, the same sort of work you can showcase it. Fake it till you make it, but don't take it too seriously. I mean, because then Vikram will come back to me like, what did you teach them today? Yeah. Do I need a website or a LinkedIn page is enough? A LinkedIn page is usually good. So it's not mandatory to have a website, but I highly recommend it to have a website. Because on LinkedIn page, what happens? You get just small size. What is the size of that LinkedIn page? You just get that much. How much will you write? You can't showcase your work because the person have to just scroll and scroll if they want a lot of information about you, and nobody has got so much of time, right? So you just share your website link. Everything will be there. There'll be multiple pages and it will be very clearly segregated. If you want graphic designing, these are the things that I have done before. If you want social media management, this is the things I have done before. And if you want strategies, this is my previous work. Okay, so these are a few things. And yeah, can we go to the next question? And no matter what the next question is, I want to tell you one thing. Whenever you're going to meet a client, okay, never go with an impression, oh, I shouldn't talk much. I shouldn't give my ideas already to them, okay? And then what will I do once I get a client, okay? So the whole idea is when you're talking to a client, make sure that they understand you've got a lot of knowledge, you got a lot of ideas for the business, and you're here to help them, okay? For example, I'm having a client meeting with you, okay? What's your name? Shabana. I'm having a client meeting with Shabana, and she have a business of, let's say, dairy products, okay? So I go there and I tell, this is what is missing in your thing. First of all, start with positive. This is what is great with your brand. This is what is missing in your brand. And I would do A, B, C, D and list like 5, 7 things for them. That's when they'll get confidence. Oh, you know a lot of things. You have done your research and you're here to offer a things. You shouldn't be like, oh, once I get on board, I'll give you a list of strategies. No. Try to over deliver all the time, okay? Because we just started off, right? We are not like a big agency that Reliance, Infosys and Dell are hiring, okay? They can come with the pride, oh, I'll tell you when you are billing me, okay? But we are not like that. Beggars can't be choosers, okay? So just go there with the impression that you want to get the client no matter what, okay? Should I offer all digital marketing or pick a niche? For beginners, I recommend go as broad as you can, okay? Because if you already have niche saying that I'll only offer my services, performance marketing services to D2C brands, doesn't work like that. How many people in the world wants D2C brands, and why would they choose you over any big firm? Because D2C business is very difficult to crack, right? So here, get as many clients as you want, offer all the services. If you don't know, outsource it. Take help from your friends. If you don't want to pay someone, have a friend like Vikram. It's like, Vikram, I don't know. Can you please help me, right? And I'm be very clear, I'm not going to even pay you a single penny. right? So that's how it works, okay? So your network is everything. I'm telling you again and again, whether it's your group of people that you're studying with, maybe she is good with performance marketing and you're good with YouTube ads. I mean, both the same things, but again, you're good with certain things. After maybe this course is over, she can always give you a call. I have this project. I'm okay to share the revenue. Can you help me with this? So how many, approximately we have around 60 people here. Can you imagine you already have a network of 60 people? All you have to do is just stay in touch, okay? I know people are just looking here and there. Really? Should I stay in touch with them? But yeah, trust me, you have to. And after one point, by default, it will come to you. Oh, I remember the student in my class. She's good with this. I'm sure she will be able to help me, right? And not just with the group of people you always sit with, okay? Sometimes it's also people you meet in a lot of webinars, events. Start attending all these things physically. That's where you will build your network. And building network is not always your same age group. I have people who are like 50 plus, right? And they get me clients as well. Because for them, it's always like, oh, this, I know a girl, she'll do it for you, right? So it's not always your age group, it's not always the same room. Start exploring, right? And never ever feel shy to interact with anybody. If I enter a room and I don't smile at you, I don't say hello, even when you're not saying hello. If I know someone is looking at me, I'll just smile and say hello, and that's how you start a conversation, right? As simple as what are you doing, how are you doing, where are you from, all those things. And you build a network, and that's when you can bring, I'm a freelancer, I'm a digital marketer, and if you know anybody, this is my card. Always have a business card with you. No questions till now? How come no questions? Am I able to answer everything at once? I know which is not possible, but then why am I not getting any questions? Or your trainers are that good that I've already told you everything? They are too good. Great. That's a safe answer. Next one, please. How much should I charge for digital marketing services? I think this is an interesting question. Usually, people charge on two parameters: the value you're providing to them and the time you're spending on that project, okay? I would say how I charge people. I charge people with the mindset of what value I'm offering them rather than how much time I'm spending on it. So I always tell this to, so I have a business partner now, okay? He is the one who will say, but you're gonna spend like 9 hours on this. Don't you think it's too less? I'm like, what is my expense? My laptop charging and my Wi-Fi. As digital marketers, do we need anything extra? No, right? Everything the client will pay it for, whether it's any tool or whether it's your ad budget or anything it is, right? So why do I charge? As a beginner, I'm talking. Of course, once you have your own brand, you charge on your time. Your time is billable. If I'm going to a client's office for 1 hour, even if I'm providing my services, consulting, I'll charge, I'll bill him for that. And that could be thousands of rupees, right? But to start with, I would suggest don't bill on your time. Bill them on the value you're providing, okay? And in Hindi, they say, chehra dekh ke tika nikalte hain. I don't know if you know this. You see the face of the client and you judge whether he'll pay 500 for the logo or whether he'll pay 5,000 for your logo, right? So that's one of the strategy. Two things: bill on the value initially. Second, see the customer, whether he'll be willing to pay that much amount or not, okay? And third thing, what is the market price, okay? Let's say SEO. What do you think is the average market price a person is ready or a business is ready to pay?
For a month.
So, okay, we need to get into from scratch on this, okay? Never ever think that in SEO we provide keywords, we'll do link building and this and that. Business don't go like this. They don't even know what all this stuff are. They just know you have to do SEO because they heard it from somebody, okay? So how do you charge? First of all, you list the services that you do in yourself, okay? For example, SEO, what all we do? Can someone name it?
On page, off page.
On page, off page, technical, blog, links, backlinks, everything, okay? You just list it down for yourself, okay? And you see how much time does it take for you to do on page. What is the most difficult? Link building is the most difficult, right? Will you be able to crack it or not? So list down the services for yourself, and always remember, business will not give you per thing. For example, for doing keywords, they're like, do whatever you want to do. I'm not concerned. You tell me how much will you charge me, right? So make a list of services, do the market research. So on an average, people go by monthly packages. They will bill you monthly on SEO, because SEO is not one-time service. Is that right? It's a long-term thing. So how can you say, I'll do it for 5,000? Because you yourself don't know. The client will pay you 5,000. He'll tell me, show me the results. I'm like, how can I show you SEO results in like just 1 week or 1 month, right? So in that case, what you have to do, you have to charge them monthly. I'll charge you between 15,000 to 25,000 for these services. And I'm telling you, always give disclaimers. It's not happen overnight. At least give me 4 months, at least give me 6 months. I'll show you the results, okay? So you give monthly packages in those services. And then we have services, which is one-time services. For example, your logo, your tagline, your brand messaging, and then we have website, right? So all these are one-time thing, okay? For example, I want to create a WordPress website, okay? How do you make sure that how much you charge? I personally go by pages. For example, a client says, I want a simple website, just a 5-page website and maybe 1 blog page. So I will calculate in my head, I'll charge 2,500 rupees per page. Okay, so that will come approximately what? Maximum go to 15,000, right? And then for me, I say, okay, 15,000 thoda kam ho jayega, let me add 3 more thousand, I'll say it for the 18,000. Okay, I'll give you a basic simple website for 18,000, excluding your domain, hosting and all those things. These are my service charges, right? So that's how you calculate how many pages website are you going to offer and how much work is required, right? And at the same time, sometimes people say, I'll give you the content, my team will help you with the content, you just have to design. In that case, you cannot charge so much because content is already given. So again, you do page wise, how much you want to do, right? And again, when you're doing all these things, right, make sure, because you are beginners, okay, always go at an entry level price. Don't charge high ticket clients to them, okay? Because if they have to pay, let's say 50,000 for a CMS website, they can get it done from a big agency also, right? Which they are confident with. Why are they coming to freelancers? Because they know they will work for lesser money from the market price, okay? So that's how you need to figure out your pricing. So website is done. Again, you don't know coded website, outsource it to people. First ask them, only then code to your client. You all can always tell to your clients, give me a day's time, I'll get back to you with the official quotation. Take all the requirements, whatever they want in the website, okay? And then you can do. Then social media management, meta ads, what is the budget? Based on all these things, how many types of ads they want to run in a month. They also want to do remarketing ads. They just want meta ads. They just want Instagram ads. They just want YouTube ads. Because if you don't know all these questions, how will you quote money to them, right? So another question you might ask me, like for example, how much should I charge for designing posts or social media management, right? So you always make quotation like, for example, I'll give you 12 static posts, 5 reels and 5 stories. And this is what I'm gonna charge you, maybe 15,000, right? In that, I'll do the designing for you. You always try to make it sound as if it's a big thing, okay? I'll make the posters for you. The graphic designer will do the best job. I'll write the caption. I'll do the keyword research. We'll do the proper hashtags. We'll do the bio optimization. Everything that you have learned in your digital marketing, just throw it on their face. Literally, just upsell yourself. Because see, at the end of the day, we also know it's just a social media post, right? What else we have to do there, right? But the client doesn't know all this thing. That's why he's coming to you, right? But there are smart clients. You have to tackle, you have to deal with him or her. But again, you know perfectly what to do because you have learned it, okay? So like that, don't just cost some random price. See how much work you're providing. Like I told you, I know people, when I say social media, oh, we'll do it in 15,000. But what will you give in 15,000? What if the client tell you, I need every day 1 story in 1 post? Doesn't work like that, right? So first you list down, this is what I'm going to provide you in 15,000. If you want every day, this will be 20,000, something like that. You need to always know what you're gonna offer. Any questions on these lines or finally?
Hi, myself is Abhilash. So, when we are going for client, so we are giving a certain quotation for social media and performance marketing. The client was searching another place also. So, another person was charging for 10,000. We are demanding me 30,000. So I'm going to 10,000. We are facing every time the same situation. So, how come you overcome the situation to get the place for 30,000?
Right. So that's one of the important things that I have seen with a lot of digital marketers who have just started off freelancing or the agency. They quote price on the time and value they are providing, right? Like I always said, give a value that they cannot deny, okay? As a starter, you always think as a fresher, I am here to take the client. I'm okay to take a client in 10,000 also. What is my cost here? My laptop, my Wi-Fi. Even if I'm getting social media posts. Forget your time that you're spending on it right now. At least for a beginner level. Be ready to hustle and work 24 hours if you want to. Okay? But make sure you get that first client, because that first client will bring you another client. And another client will bring you that client. And these are all retaining customers, because if you're delivering well, they'll come every time to you. Maybe they don't have work for you now, but moving forward, if they want to do a meta ad, they'll first call you, not the other person. Okay, so to answer your question, always give an entry level price. Don't try to charge 30,000, because if you say 30,000, for sure he's not going to come to you, because he's a startup himself. Why would he come to you if someone is giving you 10,000? So always charge minimal, okay? And if you think that he's talking to various other clients, always say, I'm okay to negotiate. I'll give you extra things. Consider me. All these things matters. Like I was saying, communication is really important, because if you just think, there are two types of digital marketer. One, digital marketers who are good with the skills they are learning. One, digital marketer who are good with the skills, but they're able to communicate well as well. Now, there's a competition between you and me to get a client. Who will the client prefer? Because I'm saying to my client, I'll give you extra things. This is extra what I'm going to do for you. I have these many things. Because I'm able to communicate, right? Whether you offer things, you don't offer things, he might have all these things in his head, but he's not able to tell to the client. The client is not your girlfriend, boyfriend, no, without saying you understand everything. My silence treatment means I'm angry. Doesn't work like that. If you're not talking, you will not get it. Okay? So always give entry level pricing at very basic pricing. Okay? Because then once you get the client, all the other work he'll give it to you only. Okay? If he's satisfied. Again, if and else statement there. How to get your first client? I think we already spoke about it. What should I include in a freelance proposal? Okay, this is very important. Always have an agreement made. Okay? Agreement, I don't mean go to government offices, stamp and everything. Not that. Just make a small proposal which says what are the services you're going to offer, how much timeline you're going to say. For example, you're building a website. I'll give you the basically all the pages and everything by this time. All the content will be ready by this time. The first 5 pages will be done by this time. Give a timeline so that the customer is also clear. Okay? So like I was saying, what are the services you're going to offer? What are the timelines? Terms and conditions are very important. As a freelancer, never make a mistake. Once the project is done, then pay me. He will not pay you anytime. He's like, I don't have money only. I didn't like your services and all those things. There are X number of reasons that he'll give you, right? So what you do, always in the terms and conditions, you say, maybe 30% you give me when you sign with me, right? And remaining you can give me once a project is done. Or once half of the project is done, you clear another % of the payment. And then you can finish the payment at the end. So always it depends on you how you want the terms and conditions, right? In terms and conditions, you also write, you take the permission. Of course, you give for signature, right? They will read the terms and conditions and you say, I will be using your brand name in my portfolio, right? You need to have that consent from people. And then on the deadlines, for example, there are public holidays. If there is a crisis, right? If your team is on, so unforeseeable situations, if you have, you mention it there, that things might get delayed if we have certain of these things, okay, so that the client cannot come to you, oh, today is Gandhi Jayanti and still I want a delivery. Today is a public holiday and it's very clear that I'm not going to give you anything today. So you have to give maybe by next morning only, but still it is very clear in terms and conditions, right? And again, in terms and conditions, you have to be clear with people. A lot of companies, they don't, allow you to use their assets, okay? For example, if you are getting a freelancing client, maybe for a video editing, on whether it's Premiere Pro or CapCut or whatever tool you use, okay? Sometimes technically the company should pay for it, okay? But as you are a freelancer, okay, you might have to buy the subscription. Premiere Pro will cost you around 1500 or more than that for one user, okay? So when you're first of all quoting, you need to keep that in mind. Or second, when you're making the terms and conditions, if you don't want to pay for it, you say all the tools and expenses, be it your ad budget or any other AI tool you're using or anything, XYZ, will be paid by the company. And I will inform priorly, you will as a company will inform priorly before making that payment, right? And if I have to get it reimbursed, sometimes the company says, you buy it and we'll pay you, okay? Make sure these are in your terms and conditions, or else the company will say, why did you say I did not approve it, right? All these situations might arise. So that's why having terms and conditions is really important, okay? Now, again, you need to have like a sort of NDA with people, non-disclosure, ever heard?
Yes.
So, especially new businesses, whenever you're approaching them for the first time, even for your first meeting, you sign an NDA. Whatever is discussed in the meeting, whether it's their ideas, anything related to the company, you cannot disclose it outside, okay? And same goes with you. What happens when you have NDA with people, right? They will, first thing, you're professional. Second thing, their business ideas, their business information will not go outside, okay? So these are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind while you are having a freelancing proposal, okay? And also make sure if you have your company registered. So whenever we are getting a company registered, right, we get a logo trademarked, we will have your articles of association, MOM will be having, and then we will be having your GST number, and there's so many things. If you're having a PF, and directors will have their own numbers, there's so many things involved, right? So yeah, in case you have a private limited company. So like for example, my agency, at one point of time, if you get it private limited, it means, first of all, it is authorized by the government, right? I will have more trust than people who are just randomly coming to that particular business, okay? So in that particular cases, make sure that you include your GSTs, you include all those taxes and then quoting a price, okay? So keep in mind all those things. Also keep in mind, whenever the businesses are there, right? If for example, I quoted like 15,000, right? I faced this initially before my company. So 15,000 is what I quoted, and they deducted the tax and then they gave me the amount. But in my head, I thought of 15,000 will be credited in my account, right? But it is not, it did not work like that. So always think, first of all, if the company is private limited, whatever business you are approaching, they will have a GST number, they will have all these things in the place, they'll definitely cut the GST and then give you the payment. So always quote higher, so that you know how much you want to be credited in your bank account.
And some companies also deduct TDS.
Yes, they do. Okay, so make sure you are making sure all these deductions you are, aware of. How do I deal with clients asking for free work and all the extra? Like someone was saying freebies here, I think, right? So they will definitely ask you all these things. I would say initially say yes, because that will help you get more confidence from that particular person, right? But always there's a limit to everything. You can't give everything for free. So how to politely say, I'll not do it for you? You can always say that this is not written in a scope of work, in the agreement or the proposal that you have given. If you want to get this thing done, I can do this much for you, right? For anything above and beyond that, you have to pay me, and these are my service charges. If you want, we can definitely come and negotiate, and all of those things can happen. So that's how you politely say, but don't say no to everything. If there's small, like nuts and bolts sort of thing, small things, definitely go ahead and do it for them, Okay. How do I build long-term relationship with clients? Okay, so one thing in freelancing is that it's not always about getting new clients. It's about retaining your old clients, because that is one source of income that is repetitive for you. You don't have to struggle to get a new client, okay? So you will have a stable income. You know that this client is paying me monthly 26,000. ये तो मेरे account में आना ही है. I'll also try to find more clients. If you think, no, this is a one-time thing, I'll just do some random work and give it to him, then it doesn't work. Every time you have to look for new clients. So have a set of 4 or 5 clients which are giving you repetitive work, then it's good for you, right? Now, how to maintain those relationships? First of all, provide high quality work at a low price as a freelancer. That is the major thing. Second, communicate it well, okay? Third, if it's a good client, you can provide discounts, or you can say, give package sort of thing. Take this, I'll give it for you a lower cost. Okay, give package pricing to them. Okay, and then another thing, be very clear on terms and conditions, because any business, if you see, they value paperwork. Anything which is written in email and on papers which are signed, they value it. So make sure you have those trust and confidence with the clients. Okay, so that's how you maintain long-term relationship. Should I work solo or build an in-house team? Go solo. I'm sure you don't want to share your money with anyone else. Okay? At least that was my mantra till almost 4 years, until I built a company, right? I used to do everything on my own. Okay? But you should understand when to stop doing everything on your own. For example, if you're spending more than 12 hours, excluding your lunch break, sleep break, everything, okay? If you're started spending more than 12 hours and you have repetitive customers, then it's time that you start outsourcing, or you have one person in your team. I'm not saying a website ke liye, social media ke liye, graphic design, one. Trust me, because if you don't get projects, you still have to pay for that one person, right? And what sort of people should you take in your team? Take interns. Free ka labor, basically, right? You have to pay them bare minimum, right? And you don't give them creative work. As digital marketer, that's your job to do. Anything which is repetitive or which requires less creativity, you give it to them. For example, you made a social media template. We have a grid system, maybe first, second, and third, like that. You make a template. You tell them, in this particular Excel sheet, I have written the content. You just have to change the content design a bit and take my approval. It's when all this repetitive work can be taken care of, right? It's only then you hire somebody or you outsource it somebody, okay? Or else, trust me, if you're getting 2 clients who are paying you in total 35,000 and you're paying 10,000 to an intern, and next time you don't get the project, you still have to pay, right? So hustle. It's okay if you're not able to sleep. Trust me, you will enjoy the benefit out of it. Okay? So that's my suggestion. Again, everything that I'm saying is based on my experience, what I have seen in the industry, and what have worked in my favor. How do I stay updated and upskill while freelancing? Oh my God, I can't even emphasize on how important this is. Okay? I started digital marketing almost 5-6 years ago, right? Things that I have learned then and things what is happening right now is way different. Especially with marketing, the Instagram profile looks like this, and next morning you get up and the interface is different, right? So it's so dynamic with digital marketing. Things keep on changing, especially with AI coming into the picture. Anyhow, the jobs are like little scary, okay? But you should know how to use the AI tools. You have the things here. So how to stay updated? First point, follow the gurus, the industry leaders. I'm sure you must have heard about Neil Patel, Arifs, all these websites that you have. Start following them. At least make sure that you're reading the news, especially related to digital marketing and AI. Because now we are moving into AI world. AI world is still gone, I would say. Now it's agentic AI. For every job that we do, there'll be an agent, okay? So like ChatGPT does everything, but inside ChatGPT, there'll be different agents doing different things. Of course, that's again a different topic of discussion, but the whole idea is to make sure that you are getting up to date with the news, what's happening in the market. So follow the industry leaders. Second, start attending webinars and events on the recent topics. Don't go with the topics which you already know, like how to become an SEO expert. You already know, right? So go to events and webinars where you can interact, network, and learn new things, especially about where the world is going. Don't get stuck where the world is today. Always think about the future, right? That's the second thing. Third thing, get small certifications done. For example, you all might have taken your Google AdWords, Google Analytics certifications, right? So that certification itself is not valid the whole time. It's not a lifetime thing. It always get updated. So make sure you're getting these certifications again and again. Maybe not just this certification. There's some other small course, like a 3-hour course, which will add value to your resume, to your portfolio. Go ahead and take it, okay? So that's another thing. What else can we do to stay updated? Another thing I would say, practice a lot, okay? Maybe, like I told you, I might be contradicting my own statement here. Not everyone is good at everything, but now you have time. How about you spend every day 1 hour on improvising the things that you don't know that great, okay? You might save money on instead of outsourcing it. After some time, you can do it for yourself, okay? So that's one thing. I know most of you are very sleepy. We'll just end in like next couple of minutes. What's the time? Okay. How do I stand out in competitive market? First, the pricing. Your pricing should be entry level. Second, how bang on your portfolio looks like, because that represents you. Even before you're going to talk to a client, they'll send me your work, and that one link, website link, will define everything for you. Third, communication. I know I'm emphasizing on this lot because I know the value of it. If you can't talk, especially the English language, I know we say every language is great and you just need to how to communicate and all those things, but that's not the reality. If you are not able to speak English language well, you're losing an opportunity, okay? So work on your English language, how fluently you can talk and how better you can articulate your ideas, okay? So I'm not saying that you have to be, like Queen Elizabeth talking very fluent English. No, we don't want that. It's just that you can put your ideas across, you can communicate, you know how to greet someone. If someone say hi, I say hello, and then it's the end of a conversation for most of us. It shouldn't be like that. Hi, how are you doing? My name is so-and-so. I have come here from thing. I mean, just you should know what to talk, how to greet people. That is more than enough, okay? Right, how do we manage clients? Here are 4 things. I think we have spoken about all of these things. First, we need to have a contract, deliverables and timelines, okay? Third one, payment. When do we get the payment? You want a 30% payment prior, or you want a full payment after the project, or you want in, EMIs, kishton mein? It's up to you. What do you think is best for you according to your client, okay? Give regular updates and reports. You shouldn't ghost your client. Like you got the money, I said I'll give you the work after 1 month, but it doesn't work. You need to give, this is what the update is. We have reached so far. This is the report. Send it to them. They might just give a thumbs up on that, but at least they're aware that you're doing your work. Okay? So that's the last one. What are the common challenges and solutions? So one of the common challenge, inconsistent income. Today you have the project, tomorrow you don't have the project. What you should do? Retain your clients. If one client you get, even for 500 rupees, upsell it. Make sure that he is or she is giving you repetitive work. Okay? Like I was telling you, monthly package. SEO karna hai, don't give one-time thing. Give me 10,000, I'll get it done for you. Give me 10,000 rupees every month. This is what I'll be covering it for you. Social media projects, right? And then even if it's meta ads, this month I'll run 3 ads for you. Next month I'll do this. Sell the bigger picture. Don't say one-time things to them. Okay? Next, scope creep. Like I was All right, no worries. Scope creep. So this is a sort of slang and technical work for the clients who ask you for doing everything for free and they start asking you doing extra work. Okay, so for that we use the word called scope creep. So that's why you need to have contract, which will be very clearly says this is what I'll do for you and this is what I'm going to charge. So every time you get a scope creep for yourself, you can say, I'll be happy to do it for you, sir, but this is right now out of my scope. And if you are willing to, have this service from my end, this is my pricing and I'm happy to negotiate, right? Next one, difficult clients. I know you are aware about the red flags, right? So make sure you spot them very initially, okay? Or else it will become toxic for you after a time, okay? So you should know when to take an exit from that relationship with your client, okay? And one thing, though the client is paying you, trust me, a toxic client will ruin your day and you will not be able to work for other clients. But at the same time, don't give up so easily, okay? It's a relationship after all, not a girlfriend, boyfriend, but with your client. So just know when to exit, okay? Burnout. Use systems and outsource when needed. If it's going above 12 hours, 15 hours, if you have repetitive income, only then outsource. I would say burn out, but make sure you have that money in your pocket. Trust me, money is that solution for everything. Okay? So that's all, I think. I hope I don't have any more slides. Yeah. You don't need to be best, just be visible, reliable, and valuable. I told you, you might not be great at everything that you do. Okay? Just be good at some things, and some things you can outsource it. So that's all from my side. Any questions now?